Welcome to episode 7 of Never Enough Gaming, and I'm here with Charlie. And
Hey, how's it going?
we're talking about Soul Blade or Soul Ed. I think in North America it was Soul Blade, and everywhere else it was Soul Ed.
Yeah, but I think then they changed that, didn't they, to be Soul Blade across the board in later releases. I looked into this a lot. They did it because of Edge Games. Have you heard of Edge Games?
No.
No, me neither. So I think they had something to do with like Punisher, which was released on the Genesis on the Mega Drive.
Okay.
But their general legacy is suing people who goes to using the word edge. So, to my knowledge, Namco.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that is just literally like if you look them up on Wikipedia, all it says is they sued EA over the use of Edge and so on. So yeah, Namco changed the name to Blade, just as good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. A game published and developed by Namco in 1996, and it came out I think in 1997 for like PS1 and stuff. Maybe I'm not for sure. Yeah, this is our first fighting game we've done for the podcast, and I'm happy it was this. I like that we're starting at the beginning of a love series. I've never played this till now, and you've had quite the experience with this title, right? The first one.
So yeah, this game. If you ever see a post on Reddit, for example, when it's like it'll show you a picture of a console and say, what's the first game that springs to mind? If I see a PlayStation 1, first game that springs to, rightly or wrongly, is Soul. Just because of when I think back, it just holds quite, I don't know, like an emotional place, I guess. It's just nostalgia, isn't it, really? It was just such a game. Like, the fighting games at the time, we'd had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and then the PS1 came out, smashing, in my opinion, a lot of other 3 consoles. And we had Tekken, which the intro was, nice enough, but still notably a bit jonky or shanky or however you want to put it. And then soulCalibur comes out with this amazing intro and fast fighting, and it's weapons as well to boot, which I hadn't really experienced in fighting games previously.
Yeah, and
it's just so good,
And all these characters have quite the backstory. Like, they put a lot of background for these characters, and I don't think a lot of fighting games really did that around the time this came out. Not that I could think of that.
Yeah, because when you're kicking the shit out of someone, you need to know their their backstory. You need to know how much you're ruining their life as you knock them out, right?
Right, yeah. Like, kind of reminded me when I was playing, I think it was like Dead or Alive 2 or 1. They're trying to win the competition so they can get the prize money. And one person's trying to do it so they can save their wife or something like that with the surgery. Then you got a character that's doing it so they can go party in Las Vegas.
I mean, everyone's got reasons, right?
Yeah.
That's perfectly acceptable. But it is good that, like, so you got Mortal Kombat, you've got Tekken, and these are all like based on tournaments, but there are, backstories interweaved into the tournament. Whereas this game is just solely, they want to get this, for want of a better term, like a kick-ass, the best sword, rumoured, I might add, so that they can be the best warrior. So it's more of a battle for honor and power, I guess, rather than it being in a tournament setting, which is also relatively unique in the fighting.
Yeah, there is no tournament at all in this first one. I mean, there's a Coliseum everybody goes to at one point in the story, but that's just a one and done thing, really. And the prize is just a weapon.
Yeah, exactly. But the Soul Edge itself, the interesting part of that is they all have like varying opinions as to what the sword is. But all they know is that they can increase their power in some. I mean, I have opinions of who's the best story is, in my opinion, which is Mitsurugi. So he's, the samurai that they're in the middle of, would you call it feudal Japan?
Yeah.
Japan's
he's trying to rival trying to find a weapon that can rival the rifle.
Yeah. So his way of fighting is dying because guns trump swords. So he's trying to get this ridiculous blade to outdo guns, which I think is spectacular in terms of story.
And he's the only person in the story that has a little mini game at the end of their story.
That's right. Yeah, his ending. Well, I mean, think about this. So you're playing it on the PS1 in the 90s, you complete it with Mitsurugi, and then suddenly you're fighting in first person mode. So it's like an FPS essentially. Well, I was like, what? Like, what, does this game not know what it is?
I put the controller down and everything, and then oh shit, something's happening.
Yeah, what's going on? But before, like pre-internet. I mean, it wasn't pre-internet, but let's just say that the game websites weren't so prevalent back then. So if you're wanting to know how to do it, you either got to find the right magazine that would tell you how to get that end, or you just got to continually complete it with Mitsurugi if you're the sort of person that is a completionist. And because it was you had to have the right sequence to dodge. I think it's maybe 2 shots that the rifle shoots at you. I believe it even says like Mitsurugi versus Tanegashima or something like that, doesn't it? And it's like, wow. So I'm not even fighting the guy. I'm just fighting the Japanese word for rifle. You know, that's the concept. You know, fight gun.
Right.
But but to get it right took some doing. You'd need to know what to press, how to like dodge, move forward continually, and then slash him. So I mean that alone like puts this game so. I think there are several endings for most characters, actually, positive and negative.
Yeah, I know. I beat everyone's arcade mode, and then I beat everyone's weapon Edgemaster mode.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are more endings just beyond that.
No, I'll have to look into that. Yeah. But yeah, it's the way that the fighting game's structured. You've also got like modes like battle mode, which depending on the game as you necessarily get, that's been taken in and out as the franchise has gone on.
And they got like a 3-on-3 mode.
Yeah, well, I think it's like pick up to like 8 potentially, and just go for it. But, you know, and just keep fighting. So it'd save you having to go back to character select, you know, but turn into more of a sort of tournament element.
And they got the survival mode, which your health regenerates a tiny bit, but not a whole lot.
So there's nice little good modes. It's great. And the story mode as well, like which you mentioned.
That's where it shines. Oh, yeah.
Really does, yeah.
It's not only do you go from fight to fight, but like there's a map and everything, and you can look at the history book and see the lore. There's different weapons you get, and I always made sure I did one fight with each weapon just to try them all out.
Good, yeah. And so you've seen the whole game then in that respect, definitely.
Yeah. Whenever I do episodes for this, I try to do everything I can in the game. Except
have you seen? Sorry, I was just going to say, how funny is it when you move like your character to the next part of the map and they're like running, but they're like running on the spot. Like it's something to do with their legs. It's just not quite right with the way that your character moves along the line. It's, you know, that was the only part that maybe they didn't continue that on the other games.
And there's even like little detail things like when you're playing as Sophia. Is that how you say your name? I think
so. It's Sophitia or Sophitia. I'm not Greek, so I'm going to go with either. Yeah.
Well, there's some points where she doesn't even walk. Hephaestus like teleports her, and it shows it on the map.
Yeah.
So you know, excellent. Little details like that are really.
I mean, speaking of the Greek element, have you considered about when the game's actually set?
Actually, no, I didn't think about that, but it has to be like.
So it's set, I believe, in the 1600s. And
that would make sense because they talk about, sense. Like, I think North America being a new land and stuff, and
yeah, but then you look at it a bit further and you're like, okay, so I guess there could be a samurai in that takes but then like. But the barbarian is questionable.
Rock,
I'm not sure barbarians made it past like the 8.
I don't think so.
They were fighting. Yeah, they were fighting in like Roman time. And obviously, I don't think well, somebody might have been, but I don't think they conversed with the Greek gods past, I don't know, like pretty early on, you know. I think Greece has been not practicing their old gods' faith for quite some time.
Yeah.
So there's,
I think
like if you look at it on the face of it, or it's just, I feel like they've kind of gone history generalized. There you go. you know,
pretty much. It works. I like that.
Yeah. I like
in 1600s, I don't know if they had gimps, but, you know, the boulders might have been running around.
Well, his story is that he's just some poor guy, like, I guess,
he's kid or... because they don't really tell you his childhood in this game. They just tell you when he's the right-hand man to Verrucci, whatever his name is.
What Verdi? Is it? I forgot his name, yeah. But you don't play as him anyway.
No.
Whoever. So, he was, I think he was just like the cabin boy on this merchant ship. And then, it doesn't really explain how he gained his funky fighting style with the two hand blades or, you know, scissors or whatever he's got on his hands at the time. And he's just waiting in a cave guarding his master's treasure, isn't he?
It says he goes like blind and mad and insane and down there for decades, and he's just sitting down there. And in his ending,
No, you go ahead. Remind me of his end.
Let's see, where do I have it here? Boldo, his ending, he just grabs a soul edge and he like rubs it on his face and sniffs it, and he just goes back to his lair and puts it there and sits there and decides to, you know, protect it forever. All right, Boldo.
Sort of like a golem sort of situation.
Actually, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think if you'd gone blind, maybe if you got this amazing sword and you were missing a sense, I'd be I'd be licking it. I'd be tasting it to see. You know, I mean, maybe I'd be doing that anyway if I lived in a cave on my own all the time. I don't know. But yeah, I like the fact that he's very pale skinned. I think that's a really good touch because he's always in his cave. You know, doesn't get much vitamin D.
And I just love his fighting style in general. Like he wiggles around like a snake and does some weird contortionist shit.
Yeah, no, his moves are brilliant. He's kind of like when I play with my friends, I always Zero might have guessed, but he's essentially like my nemesis. Because if anyone ever plays as him, his fighting style is quite unpredictable and therefore hard to sort of gauge if it's going to be a low attack. What's he doing? Whereas the other fighters are very, no, you know, they've all got different moves and stuff, but it's sort of based on the same premise. And so Voldo's the kind of like wild card that always, if anyone's listening, they wanted to beat players Voldo still to this day.
Yes, like you said, his stances, it's hard to tell if he's going to go low, high.
Yeah, but he's a good outlier. I think every fighting game needs that strange fighter. You know, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's definitely in that camp for sure.
Yeah, like I think King was in the first Tekken, so I think that was their weirdo, the lion head boxer guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he was a wrestler, wasn't he? I thought Yoshimitsu would be their weird one because he could do all the sort of sit down on the ground and I'm pretty sure he could burp in your face and things. I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, I'd definitely say. Well, I mean Yoshimitsu, funnily enough, he
comes in here.
So further on, soulCalibur from soulCalibur, he's in there, and he's a sort of Robin Hood character. He's a different person essentially every time you play as him. He's donning the mask and getting. So it makes sense that they would sort of transplant in soul.
Yeah, I remember whenever you finally play as him being one of my favorite fighters. He had such a weird style. Like I remember some move where he's like sitting in midair and spinning around. And
he walks around on his swords and he's got the helicopter move as well, doesn't he? When he's his samurai blade. Yeah, he's in the weird fighter camp as well. He's a good guy,
and he's in the weird fighter camp as well with being like. Well, I don't know if he's human, but not being a total creature. That's kind of...
Yeah, I think the only reason he can do the helicopter attack is because he's got like a prosthetic arm. So he spins it round using some sort of mechanics, which is, you know, again, cool as.
Yeah.
Can I ask you what you thought of the intro, which is a big talking point for Soul?
Tell me what exactly happens in the intro.
So it starts off saying like transcending history in the world, a tale of soul and swords, eternally. So it's pretty, you know, just normal fighting jargon, and it's a story retold, or is it eternally retold? Please play it on the on this if you can, you know. But yeah, so and then it goes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll probably see if I can clip that in here.
Yeah, do it. But then it kicks in with some sort of J-pop, J-rock anthem, which is, I mean, I've been running to that song back in the day. You know, I used to have that on in my ears, like to shine, and just running down the street going, yeah. It's a good, it's a feel good energy sort of song. And then it introduces all the characters one by one, like slashing through like a hole in the map. And I believe so. This something that I was always confused about is that there is a picture at the very beginning that shows some, I believe, must be a medieval interpretation of blade, like the soul blade. But it looks to me to be it's never explained. I'm sure listening to this going, it's quite obvious the soul. It doesn't look like that. But then and then it introduces each character with a snapshot of what they're up to. You know, whether or not they're on a little boat in the middle of a river.
That's awesome. They really care about the characters in this series.
Yeah, but that's Lei Long's stage as well, so sort of backed up because he's just traveling along a river. And it shows Taki, of course, fighting a demon because she's
a demon hunter.
She's not just a ninja. Yeah, she's a demon hunting ninja.
Yeah,
you know, that's a job. That's what she does. Not that they really ever touched on that. Really, to be fair, I would have loved to have been able to fight as that demon in the actual game. Of course, you know, not
that'd have been nice.
Interesting. And then so you've got this great anthem going to shine, and then it stops, and then you've got the nice little sitar break time to introduce the ladies, sexy time, and they're all like washing the legs and you know, very of its time, 90s.
Right, you gotta have
these are. Yeah, boys, this is what girls look like. No way. So, and then of course you've got Savicia in a lake, naked, of course, because they didn't have baths in Greece in the 1600s. You know, they all bathed in lakes. And then Zeus prominently comes out. I believe it's a statue of Zeus comes out of the lake, and I'm not even going to try and sort of unpack that.
And I'm pretty sure Siegfried is like 16 here.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, look at Greek history. Zeus didn't care about
yeah, it
that.
doesn't matter. No,
he's above the laws of.
apparently Siegfried's 16 here too.
Yeah,
Which
so they're all
blew
going
my
through.
mind.
A few of them are going through quite well. That makes sense, but there's a lot of angst, I guess, and anger and things going on.
And that would make sense. What his ending is.
Yes, yeah. But
Totally.
just to finish off on the intro, for me the intro was the closest I'd seen to so we called it FMV back in the day. Like me and my friends playing PS1 FMV, as in getting excited for an actual video as opposed to a load of polygons walking around. And like it was. I think me and my friend Phil bought this game. He was more richer. Had a PS1. I think we watched that intro about 3 times in awe. Of like, this is sick, which it was at the time.
A game we just played a few episodes ago, which had another amazing F&B intro, came out like a couple of years after this, was Onimusha.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we talked about F&B and that a little bit, and it's just amazing. Good.
Yeah, sorry, you go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, it doesn't age the best now, but back when that stuff was kind of new, fucking amazing. Especially when you're younger, it really gets you pumped up.
For sure, it was just. But I think it was always needed to sort of help you. Suspend disbelief when playing the game, which had slightly, not as good graphics. Whereas today, a cutscene, cutscenes will include probably, if you dressed whatever game you're playing, if you dressed your character in like a horse head, like like you're in the cutscene, you're like, oh, because it's
Dead Rising is good with that.
Sort of brilliant, yeah, exactly. But the point is, it's not that different from the actual gameplay, is it really? And so for Soul Blade, it was the first game where the characters just weren't that different from the FMV. Helping the overall game to be just absolutely awesome. So you'd watch the intro and be like, this is sick, and then you'd play a game, but like, he looks exactly the same as he did in the intro. Like, I'm living in the future. Like, these guys are so real. Notwithstanding what games look like today, but back then you needed that sort of thing. Yeah. So that's my piece on the intro. Love that thing forever.
Yeah, it's an epic ass intro.
But yeah, going back to Siegfried.
Real quick, I just want to say the events take place in the year 1583.
There we go.
I found that.
So just in the peak of barbarianism and just before baths were invented in Greece.
Yeah, that's a good time to put down. It's like, okay, yeah, everybody can be here. Why not?
I don't, I started looking into it. It was just made a pinch. There's a word for it. Artistic license. So it was using a pinch of artistic license, just shove a few ears in, like we say. But yeah,
shall we talk about some of the characters and their story a little?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about those guys.
Let's start with Siegfried, because it seems like this might be most likely closest to like the canon ending, maybe.
I think it's well, I mean, this is the irony or the relevance, is that the intro says a story eternally retold. Every time we play, it's always the main focus is really this guy and this guy's journey, from what he's done, the guilt that he feels, the fact, like you mentioned before, how old he is. So he's obviously, he's not quite an adult mind, and so yeah, it's a beauty. I mean, what's your take on his story?
Well, so he's the commander of mercenary knights, and at this point he's 16, and he's the commander, and someone killed his father at the Solid and decapitated him. So you're looking for that person.
Yeah.
You look at the head of you look at the decapitated head, and he thinks the person who did it was possessed. I don't know why he gets to that conclusion, but
I mean, and that's just a general thing of the 1600s. You could, CSI. You're like, this was definitely a possessed person.
I just have a note here. Like, at one point, you come across Ophelia, who's just trying to help you. So you beat the shit out of her.
Again, standard practice.
Yeah, and then you start to lose your mind after that. So it's kind of like, as you kill Rock, there's a little kid in Rock's story named Bangu. However you pronounce it.
Bangu.
Yeah. And well, if you play Siegfried's story first, well, when you kill Rock, he says Bangu's name out, And so if you played the Rock story, you'll understand that. So I kind of like that kind of thing that they do with these stories. And with his ending, he picks up the sword, he can feel the pain and agony in the sword, and it consumes him. And he starts like screaming on the inside. And I assume that's what turns into Nightmare, right?
Yeah, but I think I'm not sure if it's true on every version of the game or whether or not this is an American English thing. I think first instance of Nightmare was just called. That's what it too as.
Yeah, and the files when I was looking at the Game Shark stuff, it said something about evil Siegfried. So yeah, I think so. I wish there was a cheat on the Game Shark thing that said you can have access to secret characters. I wish I could have got it to work. Maybe someone has.
To my knowledge, which can be disputed, I'm pretty sure that there's not any other characters available other what you can unlock generally. So I think the shark codes must have just be able to so that you can unlock skins and just the ones that take the ones that you can unlock normally through gameplay.
Han Young, I think that's the one guy.
So Han Yong is brilliant, of course. We can talk about him. But of course there's Soul Edge, the character itself, the boss, which can be unlocked in a few interesting ways. So I lost my save card as a child, so I've had to sort him again on the PS1. Yeah, and I looked up how to do it, and I was like, no way! So I think I left my game on for you got to leave it on for 24 hours, and it just unlocks
really
instantly. Yeah, you could just leave it on. Great stuff.
That's so weird. So, cool.
I mean, I would say it was like cheating, but no, if it's a feature, I think the idea would be that you play that, meant to play that, so you get that as a reward. Yeah. But yeah, it's low. But can you remind me how you unlock Ham Young? Do you have to complete it with like Hwang and Sung Mina? Is it?
Yeah, let's check. I've done it. So don't worry about dead air and stuff.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm not testing you, by the way.
Here. Oh. Dude, I don't know.
Oh, Sung Han Young.
I feel like this shouldn't be that hard to find.
Let's get this. Yeah, no way, I was right. Oh man, I should have trusted myself. So to unlock him, unlock Soul Edge. So you got unlock Soul Edge, complete the game with Hwang, and then again with Sung Mina.
I wonder why they made it that way.
It makes. I know he's the master of Hwang and Sung. Oh, isn't he Sung Mina's dad and Hwang's sword master or something along those lines?
That would make sense. Why? Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, but doesn't. And the fact that he doesn't have an ending is just so odd, isn't it?
He doesn't even have a fucking picture. He's a question mark.
No, I mean, like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, come on. He does have. I mean, the guy's profile is sick. Like, he deserves a picture. Like that goatee and that tash. I long for a goatee of that of that magnitude.
And it's like his fighting style is basic, but he has really fast combos.
Yeah, he's great to fight with. It's absolutely brilliant to fight with. He's if ever I'm playing the original, because he's not in any of the other games, of course. He might feature some of the endings. Pretty sure I remember him giving Sung Mina a slap at some for being a silly girl or something. I don't know if
that sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. But yeah, I think
right, he does. Yeah, and her story, he does hit her. Yeah.
Once again, 1600s parenting.
And then she's just like, "Oh, you're right. It's my fault."
Yeah. I deserve that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the lesson, Dad.
So let's talk about the characters. We already talked about Siegfried. Well, not really his fighting. I do like his fighting because it's so satisfying when someone's near the end of the ring and you do your thrust and they go flying, just absolutely flying to the end of the map. It's so awesome.
Is that the one where he throws you over his shoulder backwards? Is it that one? Have you done that move?
Yeah.
Also, that's pretty wicked. Yeah.
It's like some Dragon Ball stuff. How far you send them flying.
It totally is, but his blade is just ridiculous. Like it's just so like, how is he wielding that one-handed as well? Like, no, gravity does not allow for that kind of ridiculousness.
And how strong can he be at 16? I mean, I don't think he's. I mean, I guess you can be, but
yeah.
Also, when it comes to this game, I had a friend come over a few days ago, and I put this on and we were playing it. This is still a blast to play with friends local, like versus mode.
It's so good. Yeah, I mean, but that was the whole point. Like I mentioned my friend Phil earlier, like the whole point was to play it like two-player. And obviously with no sort of online functionality at all. And so you'd get as many friends as you could to just have tournaments and see who was the best. But back then, I was absolutely rubbish at the game. I just,
Yeah, I'm not great at it at all.
It takes a bit of getting used to be fair, because it's based on the sort of same structures as other beat 'em ups. So you've got the high and low, but really it's just vertical, horizontal, and kick. And then you've got the other elements as well, and like combination of the two with directions and things. Yeah, no. Going back to Siegfried, the long blade. He's just with those moves that were just mentioned. Siegfried is pretty damn fast, but and also verging on cheating. If not cheating, but if someone was really good at him, like, you're gonna get utterly destroyed. It doesn't matter because his horizontal attack is just like the scale of that. You know, even it doesn't matter if you've sidestepped. It's too late. You know.
Yeah, that's the first person I picked when I was fighting against my friend, and he's just the fuck. I think I'd had a perfect victory.
Yeah. Do you
and Rock's the same way, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's the. Oh, I'm trying to remember who's Lei Long's. Sorry, I forgot. Who's got the staff in this game?
It's Xiang Mina.
No,
she has the staff with the blade at the end.
Yeah, halberd, I guess, technically.
Yeah,
who's got the actual staff?
Wei Long has nunchucks. I don't think there is a staff character in this one.
No way. So,
yeah.
So Killick being the one in future games, staff guy, because obviously with regards to a weapon fighting game, you need some range, short and such. But yeah, so no Killick in this game. Maybe he just wasn't born. Maybe that was obviously he just hadn't been concocted by Namco at that.
Have you played much of soulCalibur, the first one?
Yes, yeah, loads. I would say out of the two, I think soulCalibur is slightly better gaming experience. I think they've really the graphics were notably to the Dreamcast, just a little bit shinier, a little bit smoother. It seemed quicker. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it seemed quicker but the main thing, of course, was that soulCalibur was the first implementation of what's referred to as the 8-way run system. So do you know what I mean by that?
Like being able to actually go around your enemies?
Yeah. Well, just having it 2D but on 8 axes. Yeah. So you can literally. So whereas in Soul Blade, if you press up, you jump. Whereas double up and show if jump exists in future games unless it's part of enacted. So yeah, no, I've played soulCalibur. Absolutely love soulCalibur. Don't know why they changed the name again. Maybe there was another company called Blade Games, who knows?
Right.
But yeah, no, they're just dodging those lawsuits every day. Yeah, soulCalibur's one of my favourites, but you couldn't talk about soulCalibur and the subsequent games without, talking about this with Soul.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm so glad you picked it. Good stuff. Do you still keep up with the series?
Yeah, I do. So SoulCalibur 6 was the last AAA game that I bought. It didn't start for strong as what I thought it would be. A few issues. I was playing it on Xbox though. I think a few more issues on Xbox One.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It introduced every game they introduced new things to the series, kind of more vibrant. Whether it be new characters, soulCalibur introduced like Maxi and new, funkier, younger.
Ooh, Ivy, I remember her.
Oh, Ivy, yeah, she's great, man.
I love her weapon, just a sword whip, so good.
Yeah, I don't think that exists in real life.
I think you got one. You fuck yourself up with that.
Yeah, you would massively. You'd be like, ha, and then you chop your head off. KO. It'd be game over. And how does she retract that? She raises too many questions.
And she barely wears any armor, so she's got to be hitting herself.
I mean, she's a classic Namco female representation, isn't she? She's like,
exactly.
We can't put too many clothes on her. No one will play as her. So yeah. But yeah, she's meant to be. Sorry, she's meant to be Cervantes's daughter. I think you find that out later. Spoiler alert.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about spoilers, especially in fighting games. It's whatever.
Yeah, I know exactly. But yeah, no. To answer your question, I have followed the series, and I have favourites, and I have. Yeah, some of them. I mean, I like SoulCalibur 5. Not a lot of people like.
That's the one they threw Ezio in, right?
Yeah, Ezio Auditore. Yeah, he's in there. Yeah, because the guest fighters start more and more so as the series go on. SoulCalibur 4 and Darth Vader and Yoda. Yeah. Which was, fighting as Yoda is hilarious. You can't catch him. He's all over the place.
Right. Yeah.
Just a little dude with a sword, just jumping around, going har har.
I remember I like the map they have there too for them too. Stage.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about these games. Their stages are always pretty cool. Like I love the raft level in this game.
Yeah.
Just going down the river. I think it looks pretty nice.
Oh, hang on a second. Sorry.
You're good. You need to take a break or something?
Maybe shall I just give her a quick? Do you mind if I give her a quick ring?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll be 5 minutes tops.
All right, I'll meet you back here in like 5.
Call it 10 just in case. Sorry, but
sounds good. Oh, you're good. All right, we're back. We just talked about. Let's talk about. Oh yeah, the future game.
Yes, I was saying, what was it?
Now I want to talk. I'd like to talk about Huang.
Huang's awesome.
Yeah, I like him. He was the first character I played as, and his weapon. What was his weapon?
It's like a traditional. Is he?
It's a sword, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sword for sure. Yeah, no. So I thought you were asking him more in depth. What is his?
Right.
what type of sword is that? You know.
Well, it says he enrolled himself in a dojo and learned the long blade at a young.
That makes. I think he's meant to be Korean. Is he in the story?
Sure. But he does join the Coast Guard, and his orders are to find the Soul Edge. So
yeah. But he's got that sort of with regards to his fighting style. It's not just swordplay. He's really good with his kicks. He's got like quite a mean kick game. He's
very agile.
Yeah, so he's definitely a strong character to play. Like, I guess if you were just starting out, that he would be one of the best guys to start as, because he's a good all rounder in terms of his attacks. But obviously, it says that he's got a long blade. I can test that. It's not that long. It's no Siegfried.
Right.
But I guess but in comparison to Taki's little dagger, it's long technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've played as Swan quite a bit, but like you say, you've unlocked all the weapons. Did you? I think I've mentioned this to you in text. He's got one of like the most interesting weapon game by Soul, which is it's something like an 8-foot invisible blade you can unlock for him.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Like, you can see the swishes of the blade, but you can't see the blade itself.
Yeah, each character has like I think 6 different weapons or something like that.
Yeah.
And most of them are pretty varied. They all look pretty different. They all have different stats too. Like some are faster, some break a little easier, but
some are detrimental to health. Cool. I think. Yeah, no, it's definitely a massively well thought out together game, especially considering when it was released. I mean, if you think of like Tekken 2 came out, and then you look at this game, all the stats and everything that's included, far more interesting and technical, and there's a bit more of a depth to it than the other fighters in that 96, which is adds to why it's such a popular, interesting franchise.
Yeah, not only like the characters have all the story, most of the weapons have a little story segment too. Like, like Rock, one of his weapons is a big ass rock axe he gets, and he makes it from the obelisk of a demon shrine. So
I mean, why not? But you know, when you want when you're wandering around the Germanic forests and you find a demon shrine, it's why would a barbarian not think, well, this would be a good smashing tool? I might as well make this into some sort of weapon while I'm out there looking for Bangu. That guy.
So with good.
No, I was just gonna say, he really loves that kid. I don't think I'm not sure if that's his son or not. In the intro,
actually, I'll talk about Rock here in a sec.
Yeah. Okay.
So playing, his ending is he just throws a sword in the ocean and he goes home to a warm welcoming to his family, and then war comes back around and he goes out and fights again. So nothing too special. Rock's is a little more interesting actually. So he was born on a ship to some like loving parents. His father was a weapon collector and he had the Soul Edge. They were on a ship when Cervantes and his pirates attacked looking for the weapon, and his parents hid Rock and told him to stay there till they return. Of course, they never returned. They blow up the ship and Rock wakes up on a shoreline forgetting everything just about and starts living with natives, and that's when he meets Bangu. Who?
No way. So I knew I sort of knew that Bangu wasn't his son, but like he was like his adopted son. I perceived that, but that also goes to explain why he comes across as a barbarian. So he's essentially just a wild man. Which adds to why he's got like a bear head on top of his head. But and essentially then his entire story, his backstory is just a carbon copy of Tarzan.
Down to the shipwrecking. Yeah, exactly.
Like the whole thing. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah. So he's just Tarzan, but with an axe. I mean, fair enough. Why not?
Wow.
And with Bangu, of course, which I don't think Tarzan's got a Bangu.
I don't think so.
But he really loves that kid. And like he really, he screams that kid's name quite a lot in the game.
Yeah, anytime, like, even when you're another character killing him, he'll scream that before he dies, like, in the
Oh
story.
man! But in the intro, he's depicted as, he's bringing in food for Bangu in the cave. He's got a little nest.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, maybe this, like a kind of Grizzly Adams sort of Tarzan guy. I love it. Yeah, maybe that was the thing that happened a lot. Just lived out in the wild. I don't know.
I'm sure. So you start to remember, he gets his memories back and remembers his parents and the Soul Edge, so he's going to go look important, really, in the story. You find Cervantes and you kill him.
Yeah.
You grab the Soul Edge and then loving memories come back of your mother and father, and you start to think about Bangu helped you and how he has no parents. So he gets rid of the weapon and he goes back to him to become a parental figure for him. And that's it.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, there you go. And but so simple is this man, or not simple is the wrong word, but like, the sword of, whenever you meant to grab the sword, I think it gives you promises of grandeur and all this sort of thing, and just so that it can eventually sort of devour your soul as you use it. I think that's the story. But this guy's like, nope, Bangu. Yeah. I love that. He doesn't. I don't want for much. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do what my parents couldn't do for me. I'm going to go raise Bangu. I mean, good on you, Rock.
Yeah.
He's the best of us.
He really is.
Yeah. Everyone else is like, yeah, I'm going to keep this sword. Oh, I'm the greatest warrior now. Great stuff. Not Rock. No, he's the real hero.
Can't be tempted by pleasure or anything.
He's like, I'm gonna do the right thing, and I'm gonna be a parent.
He's the true hero of soulCalibur.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and it's a very rare story arc for a fighting game. I think. I think you'd be hard pushed to find one quite like that.
Pretty great. So next I played as Tak, and I suck with her. She's probably the person I'm the worst with. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I like her though.
She is good. If you've got to, how I would play with her is I use the sort of the double button combos. So I would be using like square and triangle together, and I would be using X circle respectively on the PS1. So I'd be like blocking kick or kick and vertical attack. So you use those sort of two buttons in tandem, and that's with directions, and then you start to like see her ridiculous moves of jumping up in the air and charging at you and dropping bombs and things. She does some crazy stuff, but it's sort of knowing it's a different play style to the other characters, because she needs those crazy moves because her blade is 3 inches long.
Yeah, she doesn't do much damage, and you have to get real close.
Yeah, she's got some cool throws as well. But so later on in the game, she is essentially Mitsurugi's rival. They always sort of end up at odds or crossing paths in a bad way. But yeah, she's an interesting character for sure. But like I said earlier, she's a ninja demon hunter.
Yeah,
and you don't see a lot of demons in the game. I'm like, come on, show me some. Her storyline should be littered with
except for like her intro, right?
Yeah, so our intro's got this quality big samurai demon. Like, chuck that in the game. Let's have a go at him, I mean, I think later on in the franchise, they do touch on sort of possessed people, but it's all within the realm of the soul blade, and they've been infected by the magic of that blade. But you never just get just a random demon kicking around. Which, surely she sees them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, every story is someone's getting possessed by a demon, just about. Yeah. So, also, I had probably the hardest fight out of everybody I had here was of Siegfried, because you have like a 15 or 20 second time limit. It took me forever. A lot of the fights with Siegfried, you're on a time limit when you have to fight him.
Yeah, for extra difficult. But it goes back to his range. His range and his power is so ridiculous as a character. I think there's a few sort of subreddits, or like a lot of people will say online, if you are playing online with the future games and cross like a really good scene, it is just game, because just the way it's just the way his blade's just so ridiculous. He's strong, his blade's long. It's just you're done for.
Yeah, it's the ultimate beginner character for sure.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, a lot of these characters are sort of like, and that's testament just how sort of how accessible the game is for people who've not played it. And you must have experienced that playing it for the first time round. So you must know, like, there's quite a lot of really instantly accessible characters without having to have too much of a in-depth knowledge of the game system.
There really is. Like, I didn't find any of them too hard to use. Like, she was the one I had the most problems with, but she was also my I think second playthrough, like second person I played as, so I didn't have that much experience with the game yet.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I
And
think
I don't think I really went back to her.
No, so if you were to do that now, you'd probably think, oh, hang on, she's not too bad. But not too bad
Right.
is the case, because even when you know her special moves, or you're sort of just doing it randomly by tapping like different combinations of buttons, she's still got quite a low damage threshold. So it does take quite a bit to win with her. You've got to guess with her.
Another thing is, out of any fighting game I played, this is probably the one where you have the most opportunity to do ring out. And if I remember correctly, I think that carries over to the other ones too.
Yeah, ring outs are great, but I mean they feel like a kind of like a fake victory in some respects.
Yeah.
But when you begin to, especially when you play in one player and you begin to note the moves that regularly get a ring out, you kind of like, I could just, so you'd be playing a specific match and it'd be like, beat this guy in 12 seconds. And if you just get, if you get, one of the characters on the edge, let's say, do a Mitsurugi throw and it just flies him off, you're like, I could use this the whole game. I could get through here pretty quickly, actually, guys. So it's the ring out element is pretty awesome I've got a kind of like unsaid tradition in my household. If we're ever fighting any of the games, if someone gets a ring out, the character that has done the ringing out, you've got to chase after that character and fall off afterwards, because you're able to do that, so you just chase after, and even though it says you win, you
still fall to your death.
yeah, but it doesn't matter because I won first, and then
exactly.
You've got to do that.
Yeah, we do that. That's our tradition with we have 3 kids, so we play a lot of gang beasts here, and that's always a tradition. Knock someone off and then jump down.
And then magically you're back in the fighting space. Hey, you must have sort of climbed up, helped each other get up there, ready for the all important fight, as opposed to like having a broken leg or whatever down in the pit where you fell.
So at the end of her story, your armor and your weapon break. I don't really know if it says why, but it just does. And then you go on and you tailor the soul edge to be your own. And that's pretty much her thing. So it doesn't really say if she's going to use it for evil or anything or good or what.
I seem to recall that she's definitely got some sort of special weapon, or like a holy imbued kind of weapon, because she needs that
that's probably why
sort of
it's such a big deal for it to break. I know it says she loves that weapon.
Yeah, so it's her equivalent of her job equipment, isn't it? she needs like a holy weapon to kill. So yeah, that must be something to do with the fact that she's fought a demon blade, but then the fact that she takes that, but it doesn't say what she's going to use it. You see that as kind of contradictory as to sort of her angle. I think back in the day, I imagined her destroying it, because that's just what she does, because it's demonic, isn't it? Of course, but maybe it's a case of keeping your enemies close.
Could be, yeah. And next I played as Sophia Alexandra. And she's great. I love playing as her.
She's got some crazy moves.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind saying her voice can get really annoying when you're playing with her. Yeah, she's like, all that business. It could get a bit too much. I mean, I remember playing as a teenage young man, and my friend who was playing as Sophia, she jumped up, her legs on my face, and then and I was just like, say what? What rating is this game? And I was definitely like, oh my word. Oh, look at this! I'm heterosexual. I want to be in that ring, So, but I think there are some cheats. I'm sure there's all sorts of. I think you can unlock some like even more revealing outfits for her.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah, pretty positive in the game. But she's been conversing with Zeus, is that right? To go and get the blade and destroy it, if memory serves.
She's talking to Hephaestus. I don't see it. Well, hold on. Well, I think maybe in the beginning she talks to Zeus, and then she talks to Hephaestus after that.
Yeah.
I think she might talk to him once.
Yeah, I stand corrected. It's definitely the Greek gods that are involved.
Oh, yeah. I think this is, I think Zeus and Hephaestus are the only ones mentioned, though. Maybe. So, Sophia, she worked in a bakery and just lived, like, a happy life until Hephaestus came down and asked her to find the evil sword and destroy it. So she was like, okay, yeah, I'll go do that.
Yeah, she wasn't even qualified. Like
No.
she's just making bread, man. You know, leave me alone. No. Your true calling is demon blade hunting. Okay, I'll give up my day job straight away for that.
And you learn Hephaestus is kind of a dick because one of the first battles, he teleports you to Rock, and he's just like, yeah, this is your test. Beat him. Beat the shit out of him. Like, for no reason.
Well, but he's a parent. He's got a kid. You can't do that.
Hephaestus is just a dick.
I mean, I think that's the takeaway from most of the Greek classics. I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The gods are there to test you, aren't they? And to stop your life of bake.
Then Xiang Ming attacks you because she's in a bad mood, according to the story.
Because she's been slapped by her dad. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Siegfried has a cool story beat here. You tell him you try to wake him up from the sword's control and you want to help him, but he says maybe I don't want you to help me. So he's just kind of accepting his evilness.
Yeah.
And you have to do grab throws to beat him, and her grab throw is a knee to the nut. So you basically just have to knee him in the nuts till you defeat him. It's pretty great.
So, like, again, it's just so sexually loaded. Like, you know, she's either kneeing you in the nuts or she's putting her genitals in your face. Like, but on the flip side, she is like the sort of paragon of innocence as well, isn't she? Like, she's true and honourable, and she's a proper, you know, she's working for the gods. But yeah, and at the same time, she's kneeing you in the nuts, like.
But to help
it's brilliant. Yeah, to help you.
For your own
You'll
good.
thank me. You'll thank me later. Here's a loaf of bread for the troubles.
Yeah. And in her ending, you destroy the sword, and you see all the gods watching over you. So, and I assume she just goes back to her bakery after that.
Yeah, I do. I hope that. I hope the move where she knees you is called like the nut loaf. I think that would be absolutely.
I hope
Be perfect. If Namco, you're listening, you know you're missing a trick there, guy. But yeah, and she goes back to her normal life, but she doesn't know. You know, for the rest of the game, she's always doing stuff. She's always helping people out. You know, she has kids as well.
Okay.
Like they have twins, one good, one bad. I mean, Star Wars. You know,
yeah.
Come on. So, yeah, anyway.
Next I played as Mitsurugi, who, you know, we talked about earlier. He has that little mini game at the end. So that's a new fresh thing. Catches you off guard for sure. He's a samurai who was a farmer's son, and he was in the military, but went on to be a mercenary. And then he found a group of his people killed by a matchlock rifle, and he is upset by it. So he's upset by the power of rifles, so he goes to find a stronger weapon that can rival it, the soul edge. At one point you're attacked by Li Long, who thinks that you killed his lover, and you're like, I have no idea who she is, so wasn't me. You get more insight on that on his story.
Yeah.
I was really bad with Mitsurugi. It seems like the most technique-based fighter, like really putting in certain inputs to get good combos and stuff. I was never good at that.
Yeah, maybe he is. I've just played it with him for so long. Like, he's my main. He's my main man. Like, I always felt like he was like the equivalent of Ryu. Like, he's your main selling point of the game. If you want to get behind someone, you're playing this game for the first time, you're going to go for the brunette samurai guy who's all man and whatever.
That's what I always thought of him as the Ryu of this game.
Yeah, for sure. But like, maybe his moves are a bit more tech, I think. But he's very quick, and his weapons are awesome in the game. Like, all his selection of different weapons are pretty cool. I will always fight as him. He will when I get a new soulCalibur game, I play as him to see how the move sets have changed, and that will be my overall sort of judgment as to how good the game is. Like, if I'm not really good straight away as Mitsurugi, it's changed too much, I'll be like, oh, I'm not sure about this. I'm too old for change. You know. What have you done to my boy? That kind of thing. He is for me the main character of the game. But his story is really interesting. The fact that I think if you to look him up, he's got a nickname which is Bodyguard. And think about that. Like, what does that even mean? Like, does that mean he's running around as a bodyguard in the battle? No, he's trying to make it so that this is my interpretation. He's trying to make it so that war is still fair.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so he's seeing guns as cheating essentially, I mean, I'd love to have a one-to-one with him and talk to him about how he feels about Cervantes, because Cervantes has got like a gun in his sword. I mean, that's you know, by Mitsurugi's reckoning, that'd be cheating. So that was my impression of Mitsurugi. But yeah, it's I just think it's fitting with his sort of samurai design. Is this honorability? War's being ruined and people are dying because you know there's no true fight. There's no true skill to it. So I'll go out and find the soul blade so that I can defeat these guns, and then everyone can go back to normal everyday, you know, nice clean fighting as opposed to bullets.
That's his peak.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And at his ending, he tries to take the blade, but he says it's too evil. But it doesn't really say if he destroys it or not. Not that I remember, at least.
I've definitely seen him destroy the blade. Maybe in SoulCalibur, I think that's his end. He just smashes it.
Okay.
Because he
I can see him doing that.
It's folly, yeah.
Yeah. And I know in the arcade ending, he ends up saying, like, you know what? I can rival these rifles as long as I use my, like, brain, pretty much, my skills and my will.
Yeah. Which is his PS1 ending depicts, doesn't it? You know, he goes out there.
You do the fight.
He does the fight. He destroys Tanegashima, and yeah, he's the man. But I mean, I'd like to see him do that versus 10 riflemen. But I think he does. I think like maybe SoulCalibur 3. I think in the intro he does take out like a full squad of riflemen. Like you know, the guy's unstoppable.
I can see him doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. That's his MO. That's got Mitsurugi written all over it.
We already talked about Siegfried and his ending, how it controls him and everything, turning him into evil Siegfried or Nightmare.
Nightmare, yeah.
Yeah. When does Nightmare...
Oh, sorry, you cut out there.
Does Nightmare appear in the next game?
Yeah, Nightmare's a mainstay. He's in it.
Okay.
But he's only a secret character to my knowledge in Soul Blade. Because yeah, I think that would. I think Siegfried takes the blade, gets racked with guilt, and is turned into whatever he is by the sword. I think maybe it was done like that because that you know it was the first instance of his story, and therefore evil Siegfried / Nightmare should be unlockable at the end because otherwise why would he be there? You haven't been through Siegfried's journey yet. That's my sort of idea of the creative choice.
Yeah. And I like the little image on his ending where he's overlooking a town on a cliff and he's all transformed and looking evil.
Yeah.
Looks like he's just about to burn the place to the ground.
He's like, I'm gonna take this place down. Yeah, I'm so evil right now.
Yeah, badass.
Yeah.
So next I played as Seung Mi now. Fuck yeah.
Yes, Seung Mina is how I would pronounce it.
Seung Mina.
No, I'm no Asian local, but Seung Mina. I'm just gonna say it confidently, like Aaron.
Yeah,
Seung Mina.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
That is right.
Yeah.
So she wants to leave school and find the soul edge, but her father won't let her and calls her a stupid girl and smacks her. And
classic. Yep.
Yep.
Reminds me of my own bringing up. Yep.
Yeah. Replaced a hand with a belt for me, and we're good to go. So she grew up with martial arts and using weapons, and because she's all cute and a girl, no one takes her seriously. And then it says something like she ends up beating up all the boys in the town, pretty much. And the country falls into war and suppression, so she wants to find the sword to end all that. And so her ending, she's happy she got the sword, and she calls out to her father out of happiness that she succeeded, because, you know, despite him being a complete dick and abusive.
Yeah.
And she picks up Soul Edge and feels only emptiness, and she tries to carry the sword, but she like drops it and it falls on her, and she's like, no, I don't want it, and she goes back home and is all happy to see her father, and I guess happily ever after. So, like, I think she just kind of leaves the sword.
Brilliant. I mean, that's so. I mean, again, like sort of like Rocks, but the same. Like, so she's clearly, you know, a protagonist through and through, but she's so like her goals are so like not selfish. There's no like negativity within her. She doesn't even need the blade, like because the blade can't take anything from her because she's so pure, I guess.
Even her motives, like she's just trying to end war. That's pretty pure.
Well, yeah, but is she? like, I mean, there's clear, she's clearly a victim of her father's toxic masculinity. Like, let's not mess around. Like, like she's like dying to impress him, and he's just like, yeah, you silly little girl. Which, you know, but she's not even bothered in the end. She just goes home, want to spend time with my dad. You know, these stories are beautiful. You know, we got we got this again. You know, parents. It's kind of lovely, really.
Yeah, a lot of parental issues in this game.
Yeah. I mean, every good Disney film starts out with at least one dead parent, you know?
Right,
and that's how they grab you, you know? So maybe that's what Namco's just singing from the same hymn sheet.
Yeah. Also, like, it says at one point, speaking of Disney, she goes into battle and she dresses up as a guy, as a boy. So it's like kind of Mulan-esque.
Oh, it's Mulan all over, of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And next I played as Li Long, who I guess this is his only entry because he gets replaced by Maxi, right?
Yeah. And so he gets replaced by Elvis, young nunchuck Elvis, essentially.
Yeah. And Li Long's nunchucks are kind of cool. They have little blades on the end of them, which also seems pretty fucking dangerous.
Yeah, no, there's some sick ones. There's like dragon ones, and like they all get more and more like decorative. But I'm not sure if more decoration denotes more like, you know, power or damage. But no, they are really sick. Like, you know, when you were a kid, like someone's like, look, you know, Dave up the street's got some nunchucks, and you're like, oh, whoa, and you like swing it round and knock yourself out on the back of your head. But like, I don't think I think I'd be surprised if you can have them really provide much varying damage. I think they're just all just deadly, unless they're, you know, made foam or something.
I actually like playing with him. It seems like nunchucks wouldn't be the best weapon compared to everybody else's weapons, but
no, he's cool. He's got some really cool moves. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and his story is kind of cool.
Well, when I was younger, I was perceived him as being very monkish, but I don't know where that came from. I thought he was like a monk, but no, I think he's trying to. He's not avenging, is he? Essentially, he's hunting.
No, at the beginning you actually, you work. Well, not only that, even before that, you work for like the government, and you're sent in as an assassin. And
so he's a civil work. He works for the government. Oh my god, this is brilliant.
And they tell you to go kill the leader of pirates and obtain the soul edge. So you go to do that, but on your way, you're like, well, I might as well go assassinate this daimyo guy. And you do so and you're wounded, and this woman named Chi saves you, who ends up becoming your lover. And during a brawl at the end, she's killed by a swordsman, and he's told as Mitsurugi.
Right. I mean, so you see him having a brawl in the intro to the game as well. Yeah. But I mean, I like the intro much better. I think as a kid, I just loved his hat, his nunchucks, his attitude. I mean, I loved a lot about him, actually, to be fair. And of course, you know, he cruises a lot of places on his boat, just, you know, fighting on boats, traveling on boats. He's just a good all-rounder. I don't know why they got rid of him. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was one more interesting ones compared to like, I don't know. Well, I guess they're all interesting in their own right.
Yeah, they are. But I don't think Maxi works for the government. Like, I haven't seen Maxi's CV, but I don't, you know, his curriculum vitae, I doubt it says that he works. Does government work? So it's a very interesting angle, you know.
Oh, and his Coliseum fight was rough. It was 6 fights.
Yeah.
And you beat Mitsurugi here. And, good.
So I was just going to say, interestingly, the Coliseum is that you can earn lots of gold in the Coliseum, can't you? Like, it's one of those where, no, stop me if I'm wrong, this could be soulCalibur.
I think that's soulCalibur.
Yeah, it is. So, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, usually you leave the Coliseum with like a badass new weapon every time you go there.
Right, but still, the Coliseum's a great stage. Like, in terms of PS1, like, so you got the water all around, sort of like yellow, sandstony. The song's pretty banging, as I recall, like really, really fun.
The soundtrack to this game is wonderful for every stage, I think.
Yeah. But the Coliseum, I remember it being just quite, as a stage in a fighting game, it was one of the first ones where I was like, whoa! You know, I wouldn't say you felt like you were really there, but there was a lot to it, and it was a big place, even though you were just fighting on a small square.
Yeah, and the background looks nice and everything. I think all the backgrounds look great, all the stages. So you fight Mitsurugi here, and he says it wasn't him, and you believe him. It was done by a different sword. So now you're not really after the murderer, you're after the sword. So, yeah.
I blame the murder weapon. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, you do beat Cervantes, and the Soul Edge sacrifices you. It kills Lee to return Chi back to life. So maybe that is his canon ending. Maybe that's not why he. Maybe that's why he's not in SoulCalibur.
Yeah, he's got nothing more to fight for.
Yeah, straight up kills him. So
yeah, crikey.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Game over. Like, you know. Yeah, I know, man. Imagine if you got to his ending and then rather than unlocking a character, it just went, oh, you can't play with him anymore because he's dead, and like you lost him as a playable character. That would
actually be amazing.
Yeah, that would be quite hardcore. Like a real lesson in life and death for gamers across the world. You know, oh my god. I mean, ultimately that's what we're describing, because you know, SoulCalibur came along. We can't play as him anymore. Maybe that's what's been wrong with me my whole life. I've been mourning this guy. I can finally set him free.
He just spent deep mourning depression of Lee Long. He didn't even know it.
All this time. Such a Lee Long time that I've been thinking about it. Sorry.
Oh no, we love that here. Next was Voldo, and his story isn't really too much. Well, you learn that he was the right-hand man to Verrucci? Yeah.
Verrucci. That's him.
Yeah, and you're tasked with bringing him weapons, including the Soul Edge, and his under attack, your captain, and he didn't want to lose all his treasure, so he goes to an island burying all his treasure and weapon, and he has Voldo kill all the crew so they won't talk about the location, and then he leaves Voldo there to protect it forever, and you end up going blind and crazy after decades in there. What's interesting about his story is most of the characters he comes across he straight up kills, like with Sophia, I think in the second stage she comes to the pit, you kill her.
Just no messing around. Absolutely no messing around, yeah. Not even a like nice. He can't talk though. I think he's lost the ability. He's like, I think he's got nothing to say. He speaks in action, but his weapons are like some of the most interesting. In terms of a variety. And I'm no like historic scholar in terms of like weapons, but I've never seen any of those in a museum. His scissors, they get me every time. he's just got some really big hand scissors.
It's great.
Absolutely brilliant. Go for it, bro. But I'd run a mile. I'd run a mile if I met that guy. You know, he's not saying anything. He's just out for the kill.
And he like stands wiggling like a weird worm snake. His moves. He can like grab his feet and cartwheel towards you.
Yeah. Yeah, when he walks, he does the crab and walks towards you, and
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's in this game, but in future games, he does a sort of move where he literally snakes around your feet, figure of 8, and then does you from underneath. You're just like, why? Why didn't you just go straight for the hit? As opposed, but I guess like my player in the actual game, I'm just as confused. And then of course, the killing blow comes, and I'm like, oh, that's why you were doing it, right? Okay. Like a kind of.
He is blind, so maybe he's just slithering around hitting whatever.
But he's got strong gimp energy, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's got like full on,
He was more than Virtue's right hand man.
Right. Yeah, was he? I'm not sure. So. Right hand being the operative word. Maybe that's why he wears the scissors. Maybe that's what it's all about. Dear oh dear. But he's like we've said before. He's definitely the weird entry. So I know he's one of the standout. I remember he's in his cave. He's guarding the treasure. His stage is essentially a cave inside what could be described as a sort of like hidden treasure cave, and you can kind of see out the cave that it leads out to the sea sort of thing. So it's kind of like a Goonies. Have you seen the Goonies, like where they find the ship? It's kind of like that situation, but he's in there guarding the treasure, and he's lost all sight because obviously he's in all skin color. He's just lost it all, man.
Yeah, he looks great, and even his ending. He hugs the Soul Edge and rubs it on his face and everything, and he just takes it back to the pit and guards it till the end of time.
Time to guard this. That's what I do best. Just guard stuff and kill people.
Yeah. And in the story, whenever you get to the Colosseum, the story just says, like, he stumbles upon this hidden place. So he just kind of bumped into it. out of his blindness. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Literally adding the fact that he stumbles just so you don't question it. I think he just rolls everywhere or walks in the crab, just like across the countryside. Like
I hope so.
In some sort of weird way. That's how he moves around. But yeah, it's also interesting that he's hidden in the cave and like it's like, where's Waldo kind of thing. Like there he is. He's hidden in the treasure cave. But yeah, no, he's yeah, he's my arch nemesis. If anyone ever plays him, yeah, he's great and he's so unique. You don't really see many other characters like that, I would say.
Exactly. Usually when games do their weird ass characters, they're like a creature of some sort. I mean, he is like a creature, but he's still humanoid. You know, he's not full beast.
No, he was born human, but then isolation and dedication to his boss or his merchant captain has made him this. So he's quite a hellish like backstory, really. Thinking that he was a sane man to start off, but how many years would you easily rest in a treasure kit until you just got bored? The guy's really committed to his task.
3 days. Yeah, insane.
3 max. And what's he eating in there? Like gold coins? Like, what's his diet?
I mean,
these things are not to be questioned, I don't think, but still.
He was in there for decades, just eating bones and dirt. I don't know.
Yeah, drinking seawater. He's gone nuts.
He might be the oldest character in the game, too, because it says he's 43.
I never even put an age on. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I just thought that was a weird number.
That's how old I am. No way. I could. That's nuts.
Now your goal is to isolate yourself and transform into Boldo.
Yeah. Now that I'm finally over Lei Long's passing, I need something new to do. So yeah, maybe I'll just get a load of Soul Blade games in a cave and guard them.
Just identify as Voldo from now on. Don't go out in public. Yeah. Just
I am not going out in public like that.
Well, you won't care what people think of you. Maybe if you're blind, you got to blind yourself too.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, if I can't see people judging me, it doesn't really matter. But then again, if I was mirroring Voldo's attitude, I'd be killing everyone I came across. So I don't think it's the best.
True. Yeah,
it's not the best angle for my life to take from here.
Yeah, maybe not. So last is Cervantes, and I like playing as him. His fighting style is just great. He feels overpowered. He feels like he should be like the big bad, other than Soul Edge himself.
That's exactly right. He does feel overpowered. He is essentially the kind of call him the sub boss, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the Goro or whatever.
Yes, but he's dual wielding, of course. He's got 2 blades.
They hit hard, and he's fat.
And his throws, like some of his throws, he just grabs, like he uses both swords to like grab you, like the hands, like just extension of his hands. He's like, gotcha, and then like throw you around. And you're like, no, you can't pick me up with swords. What are you doing there? It's absolutely brilliant. And he's also the guy that's got what I would sort of equate to the only or the true special moves of the game. So, like, whereas other people's special moves, like you've got the Soul Edge attack and things, so you can do unblockable attacks. And Taki's got some interesting moves, but he can literally sort of disappear and then fly across the stage and sort of attack you. He can also appear, like, teleport 5 foot above you and slam down with his blade. So he's got the real magic edge, which a lot of the other characters don't have. So if you know how to sort of do what you do with him, he's guaranteed victory if you master that character for sure.
Yeah, it would make sense. He's wielding the Soul Edge. So.
Yeah.
And I think him and Soul Edge have like the same moveset, right? Because I know he can.
I would say, it seems the same. They've got the same weapons. I can't think of any differences really, to be fair.
Yeah. So Cervantes, his father was a commander of a Spanish ship and was killed by the English, and then you were declared missing after a battle. Something. I got a little confused with this story.
I sort of know some of his story, and it is a bit confused. Just make him a pirate and have done. That's all we need to know. He's a pirate, but no, let's throw his parents in there.
More parent stuff, yeah.
Yeah, more parent stuff. Oh.
So his story is you go along with the Soul Edge, basically sucking the evil out of everything, making it more powerful. And at the end, Cervantes decides he won't listen to the Soul Edge. Instead, he will become its master. And he succeeds in that and goes up a new pirate crew. And he says he vows to create hell everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
So.
And And that's true with the intro when he pulls off his face, and, you know, you see the soul edge underneath. But
Yeah.
I think the real question is, who's the master of who? I think really, is he just saying that is he in charge of the demon blade, or is it not really that the demon blade is in charge, or is his ego just so crazily strong that he's somehow managing to like control it? I don't know. But yeah, I think I read his backstory, and it said that he got the blades at an auction. Like, I was like,
really?
What? Like, what? So this pirate, like, just give him a simple story. He got them, because in other people's stories, he steals it from them, or from Rock's parents or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. But this is the beauty of fighting games, because so many of, like, if you were to draw it as a diagram of the intersection of stories and how different endings happen depending on which route they took and such like, it's quite. There's never, with most fighting games, there's never just one true story all the way through, because it depends on who you play a game as. You see.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Cervantes is just badass. He's a badass. He's a pirate. He's an absolute badass, and he thinks he's in charge of it. But I would contest that and say he's in charge of him, much like Fantasy. But yeah, he's absolutely
very Green Goblin of him.
Yeah. Did you do well with him? I take completely.
Oh yeah, I kicked ass with him. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't think I lost a single fight with him. Yeah, everyone else I had at least one problem with. Like, there's some fights where you have very little health and you have to fight Voldo.
Yeah,
and like 2 hits and you die, and those got pretty good.
But yeah, Cervantes he's bitching. He just he's just like, you only got one sword, eh? Check this out. You call that a knife? Here's 2.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's so good, and hence why he should be and has been as the boss. And boss of subsequent. But there's something to be said about that boss, which is, I always sort of perceived the sort of fight I have against Soul Blade, the flaming skull character, Soul Edge, Soul Blade. It gets. I'm just going to call him the boss. I always thought of that as because you fight Cervantes and he drops the swords, and then you grab the swords, fight Soul Edge, and I always sort of saw that as an internal struggle, and I think that's what it's meant to be depicted as, is you having now got the blades, fight the demonic energy within. So it's a fight in your own sort of mind for your own soul sort of thing, which is, I don't know if I'm taking it beyond what it's meant to be taken as, because you're in a sort of like hellscape.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You're in a weird. It takes you to a new stage whenever you fight Soul Edge.
Yeah, and that can't be happening in the real world. I mean,
right.
I'm not suspending disbelief here. Like, I'm not like, well, this is the bit I don't believe, because a lot of it's quite unbelievable, really. But nonetheless, it would be quite the stretch to be transported to a battle, out in space or whatever. So yeah, I think it is. It's an internal struggle, you versus the sword's energy, which is cool. It's just bloody well cool. To say that,
I didn't think about it like that. That is pretty badass.
Yeah, man. And that sort of backs up the story of what happened, of their endings, because they've had this internal struggle, and even though they've sort of against the representation of the they still have a choice as to what to do with the sword, where to take or destroy it. Am I just weak and I'm going to be owned by it? Con myself into thinking I'm absolutely kick-ass and like Cervantes, but no, yeah. But he all these characters, regardless of their endings in this game, the story does get eternally retold throughout the the other entrance is like, oh, here we are again, like nobody died somehow, or because I mean the last game was a complete sort of retcon, essentially restart, which has been done by many. So yeah, it is getting eternally retold. That's my take on it, anyways. But what would you say? Have you mentioned Cervantes' end, or where he goes? Do you know?
His ending, pretty much, he just goes on his ship and says he's gonna. Actually, he says more in the arcade. So in the arcade ending, he grabs his head and starts yelling like he's possessed, and then he stabs Soul Edge into the ground, making lightning strikes happen all around him. And then he gets on his pirate ship and says to his crew that they're going to change this world into his hellish paradise.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
And then they go up. Yeah. And then they go off and make Vegas.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Last one to talk about is Soul Edge himself, which plays just like Cervantes, but maybe a bit faster, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the Soul Edge versus...
I wouldn't be surprised if he has just that tiny 0.1 extra damage as well. If you know, if,
Oh yeah.
pretty sure, yeah, for sure.
And the Soul Edge versus Soul Edge fight was pretty fun, actually. It was a nice little fight. Well, his ending, he has his own little ending. The sword goes flying into the water, and it cuts to 400 years later, and a diver is in the water and finds it. And that's it.
Right. That's it. But still, there you go. Like it's linked to modern times. Like it pulls it in. You know, you're like, oh, that's my time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Interestingly, if you were to sort of Google Soul Edge or SoulCalibur, the diver, he's got his own page.
Really?
He's he's famous.
Oh shit!
I can't believe we're not talking about this guy, man. You know,
he's the diver.
He's the main guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So I'm sorry. I
Wait a second.
See what dive.
You can diver with cheat?
No.
No! Your diver can only be via cheat device.
No! He's the guy. He's the guy. I can't believe it. I don't believe it. Oh, it's a she.
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She uses Sophia's movement too.
She wields a giant invisible sword. This is changing my life.
That's so cool. I definitely got to see gameplay. That's
oh
awesome.
My
I love
God.
I love weird shit like that in fighting games.
Yeah, man.
Like
So
Mortal Kombat Armageddon, you get to play as mocap, like just weird shit like that.
Yeah. No, I love good stuff like that. That's amazing. I can't believe I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that she had her own page, but. Oh man, I've got to get my Game Shark rocking. It's gonna have to happen.
I know. I gotta get that working. Now I gotta figure this shit out.
There we go. Because we were talking about that previously, weren't we? And I was saying, I don't think there are, to my knowledge, and my knowledge has been changed. So I mean, that's great. Every day is a school day, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that does beg the question, though. That I think if people always say like, where can this franchise go any further? Like, it would be cool to have this sort of game continue future setting or a present day setting. I always thought as a team
that would be cool. I assume they never get anything like that.
No, not really. I think there's been. So there's a character called Zazalemel, I believe. That's
the guy at the scythe, right?
Yeah. So, but he's immortal. So a lot of his endings, or one of his endings at least, shows him in the future, looking for the blade in the ocean.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's where our diver. Oh, I'm so happy that the diver's represented by a lady, and that she's got. Why would she have a giant invisible sword though? What's that all about? Like, is that standard scuba practice? Is that
I mean, obviously,
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna go away and fight as a scuba diver and forget all about Laylog. Who needs Laylog anyway? You know, I've got this person.
Need the diver and Voldo.
Yeah, that's it. That's what, it's a match made in heaven.
We actually went a lot longer than I thought for a Soul Blade episode. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So. Sorry about that, man. I can
talk. No, it's great. I like it. I think that wraps it up. I think we talked about everything in the game.
Yeah, I think we probably did. The only thing left to say would be Bangu.
Bangu. Does his story ever continue on?
No. Oh man, hang on. Is he playable? Tell me. I'm searching Bangu right now. Come on. I would love it. I would absolutely love it if you could play as Bangu. Game Shark could be it.
Yep.
Oh, I'm losing you, buddy. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry, I lost you there.
Okay. You can play it with the cheats.
No, this is brilliant. I mean, see, I'm from a small town in the country. You can't get Game Shark. You couldn't get Game Shark what they called cartridges to go in the back of your PS1 when I was a kid where I lived. It just wasn't a thing. So I'm learning all this now in sort of retrospect. Wow, you can play as Bangu.
So the creator of the series said he wanted to make him he wanted to put him in the roster of SoulCalibur 5, but it just didn't happen.
Right.
But he has said that he wants to put him in a future game.
God. Well, that would be great. I think
in a Rock SoulCalibur ending, it shows Bangu growing up carrying Rock's axe.
Yeah, I've seen that. That does ring a bell. And he was brought up properly by Rock. That's just beautiful. That's awesome. Yeah, man. Go Rock and go Bangu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Team
like,
Rock and Bangu for life.
yeah, I think so. But I like to think of them like eating sufficient bread,
Yeah.
and being helped out
Living
to
a peaceful life.
filling out government forms with Lei Long's help. Oh no. But yeah, regardless, I can see it. The sort of the design of a sitcom. Just waiting to happen here, maybe, with all the characters. I'm not sure.
Bulldoze, the weird neighbor.
Yeah. Just always just like putting his head above the fence, but not that he can see anyway. But
Yeah. That's great.
Brilliant.
All right. That wraps up our episode on Soul Blade. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
And hopefully before too long we'll be back with SoulCalibur.
I would love to be a part.
And between then and there, I definitely want to discuss Beyond Good and Evil with you.
Yes, let's do that. 100%.
All right. This has been Never Enough Gaming. See you next time.